financiallyfree.com, here doing page 133 from the book Memoirs of Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowd. Okay, it's in the chapter called The Alchemist. Last time I read on Tuesday, I read this horror story, and so I was afraid to read yesterday, but I've gotten brave and I'm reading again today. Okay, what people do for money is so scary. So just a little bit about myself. My name is May Dodelau, and I live in Waikiki, Hawaii with my husband Jamal and our 7-year-old son Jordan. He's brushing his teeth right now. But we own this 2-bedroom condo and another 1-bedroom down the street, which is an Airbnb business. Back in 2011, I didn't own any property. I dreamed of owning property, never had. And I was over $40,000 in debt. All of it was like credit cards, personal lines of credit. So by 2016, April, paid it all off. December 23rd, 2016 was my last day at my job. I quit. I started coaching clients to do what I did, which was pay off all the debt and create passive income. We were making almost $500 a month in passive income every month when I quit. And we improved our family's net worth by over $500,000 by that time. So I started coaching clients to not only pay off debt, but to focus on increasing your net worth and making passive income for the purpose of creating more freedom in your life. Now, I want to ask you today, what would you do if you're financially free? Really think about it, because last Tuesday, if you haven't read it, go back and read it or listen to the replay. Not with your children, that was scary. But what people can do if they have a lot of money and they don't have a plan, and then they chase money just to chase money for their pride, and then they turn evil. It's really sad. So I really want you to think, why do you want to be financially free? For me, it was really easy. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to raise my son. I wanted to have more time with him. I wanted to have more time with my husband. I wanted to be a homemaker. I wanted to have a great family life and to enjoy it. All right. So what about you? Think about it. And today we're going to continue reading. But before I start, go to yesfinanciallyfree.com, put in your first name, email address on the right side, click the red yes button, and you will get the free ebook, Working Parents Guide to Financial Freedom, sent directly to your inbox. You'll get on my really cool email list, and I send really cool emails. And if you want to subscribe, you just do so anytime at the bottom. So let's begin our reading. Today we're talking about Jacques Co, which means heart in French. This remarkable pretender to the secret of the Philosopher's Stone was contemporary with the last mentioned. He was a great personage at the court of Charles VII, and in the events of his reign played a prominent part. From a very humble origin, he rose to the highest honors of the state and amassed enormous wealth by peculation and plunder of the country which he should have served. It was to hide his delinquencies in this respect and to divert attention from the real source of his riches that he boasted of having discovered the art of transmuting the inferior metals into gold and silver. So he was a thief. That's nice. His father was a goldsmith in the city of Bourges, but so reduced in circumstances toward the latter years of his life that he was unable to pay the necessary fees to procure his son's admission into the guild. Young Jacques became, however, workman in the royal mint of Bourges in 1428 and behaved himself so well, showed so much knowledge of metallurgy that he attained rapid promotion in that establishment. He had also the good fortune to make the acquaintance of the fair Agnes Sorel, by whom he was patronized and much esteemed. Jacques had three things in his favor: ability, perseverance, and the countenance of the king's mistress. Many a man succeeds with but one of these to help him forward, and it would have been strange indeed if Jacques Co, who had them all, should have languished in obscurity. While still a young man, he was made master of the mint, in which he had been a journeyman, and installed at the same time into the vacant office of Grand Treasurer of the royal household. Hi, Valentin. He possessed an extensive knowledge of finance and turned it wonderfully to his own advantage as soon as he became entrusted with extensive funds. He speculated in articles of the first necessity and made himself popular by buying up grain, honey, wines, and other produce, till there was a scarcity, when he sold it again at an enormous profit. Strong in the royal favor, he did not hesitate to oppress the poor by continual acts of forestalling and monopoly. As there is no enemy so bitter as these strange friends, so of all the tyrants and tramplers upon the poor, there is none so fierce and reckless as the upstart that sprang from their ranks. The offensive pride of Jacques Co to his inferiors was a theme of indignant reproach in his own city, and his cringing humility to those above him was as much an object of contempt to the aristocrats into whose society he thrust himself. But Jacques did not care for the former, and to the latter he was blind. He continued his career until he became the richest man in France and so useful to the king that no important enterprise was set on foot until he had been consulted. He was sent in 1446 on an embassy to Genoa, and in the following year to Pope Nicholas V. In both these missions, he acquitted himself to the satisfaction of his sovereign and was rewarded with a lucrative appointment, in addition to which he already held. In the year 1449, the English in Normandy, deprived of their great general, the Duke of Bedford, broke the truce with the French king and took possession of a small town belonging to the Duke of Brittany. This was a signal for the recommencement of a war in which the French regained possession of nearly the whole province. The money for this war was advanced for the most part by Jacques Co. When Rouen yielded to the French and Charles made his triumphant entry into that city, accompanied by Dunois, and his most famous general, Jacques, was among the most brilliant of his cortege. His chariot and horses vied with those of the king in the magnificence of their trappings, and his enemies said of him that he publicly boasted that he alone had driven out the English. The valor of the troops would have been nothing without his gold. Dunois appears also to have been partly of the same opinion. Without disparaging the courage of the army, he acknowledged the utility of the able financier, by whose means they had been fed and paid, and constantly afforded him his powerful protection. When peace returned, Jacques again devoted himself to commerce and fitted up several galleys to trade with Genoese. He also bought large estates in various parts of France, the chief of which were the baronies of Saint Fargeau, Meneton, Salon, Marlborough, Mons, Saint Garand de Vaux, and Saint Ouen de Boissy, the earldoms of counties of La Palisse, Champignelles, Beaumont, and Villeneuve de Genève. Oh, I've heard of that one. And the Marquis of Toucy. He also procured for his son Jacques Co, who was chosen the church for his profession, a post no less distinguished than that of Archbishop of Bourges. Everybody said that so much wealth could not have been honestly acquired, and both rich and poor longed for the day that should humble the pride of the man whom the one class regarded as an upstart and the other as an oppressor. Jacques was somewhat alarmed at the rumors that were afloat respecting him, and of dark hints that he had debased the coin of the realm and forged the king's seal to an important document, by which he had defrauded the state of very considerable sums. To silence these rumors, he invited many alchemists from foreign countries to reside with him, and circulated a counter-rumor that he had discovered the secret of the philosopher's stone. He also built a magnificent house in his native city, over the entrance of which he caused to be sculptured the emblems of that science. Some time afterwards, he built another, no less splendid, at Montpellier, which he inscribed in a similar manner. He also wrote a treatise upon the Hermetic philosophy, which he pretended that he knew the secret of transmuting metals. Jordan, can you go down and get Uncle Kenny, or ask Daddy to do it when he gets out, please? He's downstairs. Thank you. But all these attempts to disguise his numerous acts of peculation proved unavailing. He was arrested in 1452 and brought to trial on several charges. Upon one day, which the malice of his enemies invented to ruin him, he was acquitted, which was that he had been accessory to the death by poison of this kind patroness Agnes Sorel. Upon the others, he was found guilty and sentenced to be banished the kingdom and to pay the enormous fine of 400,000 crowns. It was proved that he had forged the king's seal, and that in his capacity of master of the mint of Bourges, he had debased to a very great extent the gold and silver coin of the realm, that he had not hesitated to supply the Turks with arms and money to enable them to carry on a war against their Christian neighbors, for which services he had received the most munificent recompenses. Charles VII was deeply grieved at his condemnation and believed to the last that he was innocent. By means, the fine was reduced within a sum which Jacques Co could pay. After remaining for some time in prison, he was liberated and left France with a large sum of money, part of which it was alleged was secretly paid him by Charles out of the produce of his confiscated estates. He retired to Cyprus, where he died about 1460, the richest and most conspicuous personage of the island. The writers upon alchemy all claim Jacques Co as a member of their fraternity and treat as false and libelous the most rational explanation of his wealth, which the records of his trial afford. Pierre Borel, in his Antiquité Galloise, maintains the opinion that Jacques was an honest man, and that he made his gold out of lead and copper by means of the philosopher's stone. The alchemists, adepts in general, were of the same opinion, but they found it difficult to persuade even his contemporaries of the fact. Posterity is still likely to believe it. Still less likely to believe it. Okay, we're done with that. We will continue on with page 136 next week, tomorrow. Have a great day. Aloha. Take care. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for being on today's live. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. You get notified when I'm live next. Have a great day, and click the link below this video if you want to go to my blog directly. And thank